Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me on Turning a Moment into a Movement. My name is Jay Love, and I represent the Justice for Gerard movement. Gerard is my son who was wrongfully incarcerated for a crime he didn't do, had no knowledge of, innocent, and still he went to prison. So, because of that journey with him, and because of all the families I met and just so many people I met on the journey with Gerard, I created this platform called Turning a Moment into a Movement, where we come here every Friday and talk about wrongful convictions and injustice. And we also talk about solutions as well. So thank you for joining me and welcome, especially if this is your first time. Welcome. And I'd like to say to all those who are watching on YouTube and Twitter, and even those who might watch or listen to us on later on, welcome. Thank you for joining us and thank you for watching us because you are the reason that we're doing this. It's not just because of Gerard, but it's because of all the Gerards around the world that we come here to talk about this. So our mission is to bring awareness to wrongful convictions of Gerard, like I said, and all others who are wrongly convicted, over sentenced, mentally ill, and medically frail in our community. To inspire, organize, and educate all communities about the need to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns of the criminal legal system that leads to wrongful convictions. So that's why we're here, and thank you again. So we have a panel that comes on as well, and we come on and have discussions. And we usually bring on a guest, but this week it's just us, so we are going to be free and do what we do. So first, I want to bring on Reverend Tia. Hi, Reverend Tia. Reverend Tia, your mic's not on.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm so excited to be here this evening. Jay, it's wonderful working with you, and you're such a great leader of justice, justice, social reform. And who knew that all of this would start by a wonderful person by the name of Gerard? And
Yeah.
so I am just pleased to be a part of the family, to be a part of the mission. And this is a divine call for me.
Mm-hmm.
As I follow and look at change that occurs in any positive way, it does take informing and educating people.
Yeah.
And I believe that this is the time that not only that, for as we educate, we got to take action.
Mm-hmm.
We have got to take action, and we've got to continue to educate towards action, educate towards accomplishing our goal, and educate towards taking care of ourselves individually and collectively,
Yeah.
and taking care of humanity and the place we call home, this earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we really look at it, Jay, I started thinking, here we had all of this, and there's the need or the narrative that you have to do more. You have to keep doing more. You have to keep getting more. You have to keep making this change and making that change to be better, to be better, to be better, according to whose standards?
Mm-hmm.
And how have we been living our life? And is running around like a chicken with your head cut off, is that actually better? And I decided recently, Jay, it's not. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to participate like that anymore. But what is really important, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Yes, Reverend Tia. So introduce yourself to
I sure
the
did. I started all that. Yeah. Oh, that was a
No,
little.
it's good though, but
I'm Reverend Tia Littlejohn. I am a minister at Transforming Love Community. You can catch us live on Sundays and on Facebook and on YouTube, transforminglovecommunity.com, and Shahira Stevens on Facebook and on YouTube. That is our pastor, I don't even like saying pastor. Definitely, she is, I would call her a rebel in her own right for righteousness, and definitely a great leader. Also, am a part of G100, which is worldwide, serving women, helping women to economically we become elevated. This is a think tank for women. If you are interested, make sure you get in touch with me. I am the founder of the Choice Zone, and I am excited to be here with turning the moment into a movement. And I'm also on the executive committee for Michigan Coalition of Human Rights. So any of these things, if you want to become involved, if you want to spread your wings in activism, this is the platform starting here, and you can get in touch with any one of us. We are on the front end doing something in our communities at all times. Thanks, Jay.
you're welcome. Thank you, Revertia.
I guess we should root. Should I get my dance on?
Yes,
Get,
get ready. Look, I'm
get
trying
ready,
to
get
clear
ready,
out
get
the.
ready.
Get ready. Here we go. Hi, Attorney Mack.
Look here. Let me tell y'all something right now. They say the lion is the king of the jungle. That's a lie. That's a
Uh-huh.
lie. That's a lie. The lioness is the queen of the jungle. See, that's the real deal. That's the real deal. You know, you're
Okay.
talking to an old Eagle Scout, only the second African American in Washington County history to obtain the rank of Eagle Scout. My
Mm.
son was the third. And I'm telling you this right now. The lion walk around, and yeah, when it come time to throw down for the pride, he'll do his part. But generally speaking, homeboy is sleeping about 22 hours a day. And so what happens is the women folk is out there raising them kids, bringing down them zebra and them gazelles. And then when the
Mhm.
dinner bell is rung, homeboy gonna be the first there. And they're all gonna move aside because he's the big boy. Okay, that's where
Right.
we get the term "get a lion's share." Okay, the lion's share. That's where we get that from. So look here, I know good and well, the value of the women on this program to me. You understand? So look, I want you to know I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. You know. So my name is Hugo J. Mack. Unlike the 40,000 other lawyers in the state of Michigan, I did not parachute from heaven to be with y'all tonight, but through the power of God and Jesus Christ, I've come up from hell to be with y'all tonight. I understand what it means to pay a debt you didn't know. I understand what it means to be incarcerated within the Michigan Department of Corrections. I understand what it means to have over a decade of your life wrongfully taken. But one of the greatest things I understand is that there are some things more important than what we call freedom. Freedom is nothing without integrity, you see.
Mm.
So it's most important for all of us, particularly Black people, and super particularly Black men, to maintain your integrity. Maintain your integrity, regardless of what has happened, because greater is he in you than he who is in the world. And I thank God for that. And so for me, my practice is around the poor and disadvantaged, disenfranchised. A large percentage of my practice are women, an unfortunate high percentage of them Black women who the social safety net has let go. You know, it's so interesting to me when I see groups, people from a majority culture, women from majority culture, who stand up and say, well, I'm the head of this group, I'm the head of this group, whatever, and, you know, getting government monies. But I never see those women in court when I go in with these Black poor women. I never see them at these women's houses where I go routinely. I never see them trying to get these women jobs, a place to stay. I never see them 3 o'clock in the morning when people call me to come to their house to stop him from killing her or to stop her from killing him. Okay. Over 800 times as a public defender, I stood next to these women, being the only person keeping them from the jail and or the penitentiary. I say that, Jay Love and crew, because don't ever let somebody dictate to you what a pedigree is. Don't ever let somebody dictate to you because they went to Harvard or they went to Yale or something like that. And in my own profession, where, we are the standard because we went to the highest law schools, the best law schools. Some people tell you they went to Harvard, graduated summa cum laude. Some people tell you they went to Yale, graduated magna cum laude. I'm proud to tell you I went to the University of Toledo and graduated thank you laude. So you see, for me, it's one of those things where I know my place and I know where God has brought me from, you see. So I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to be a part of this, fighting for the wrongfully convicted and the overly convicted, all throughout the county and throughout the state, as the Lord gives me vision and provision to do. So here we go. If you find yourself on Trouble Boulevard, push, pull, tow, drag, beam up that hoopity to Mack Street. Mack Street. Park in my virtual underground garage and call the Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. The Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. The Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. Because hmaclaw.com is your hookup. hmaclaw.com is your hookup. hmaclaw.com is your hookup. And Jay Love, in order to give people opportunity to record that information and write it down, excuse me for 30 seconds while I and Roland Martin do the boogaloo. Reverend Tia. Pulp Fiction.
I'm about to I'm really gonna date myself now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Man.
Thank you so much. And Jay Love, I'm gonna tell you something. If people listening, if you don't want to win, don't come in. Keep your behind out there begging for government cheese. So Jay Love, when people ask you and call you and write you, demand you kick me off the show, I know they're doing it. All I can tell you is this. Before you do, tell them. Well, say, Jay Love, did this man actually author and endorse this kind of outrageous announcement? Damn straight I did. So Jay Love, I'm going to tell you this right now. This announcement is endorsed by Dr. Hugo J. Mack, Esquire, the one true king of Russia, Scotland, and Harlem. I love you.
Ooh. HMAT.com. HMATlaw.com.
It's your hookup.
Yes, that's your hookup.
Thank you, Attorney Mack.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, you guys, it's just us. So we can just do our thing. Ain't no nothing. You know what I'm saying? We can take the gloves off today.
Yes.
So let's I don't even know where to start. I just
it's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with today's Good Friday.
Okay.
And Good Friday, wrongful conviction and execution. Jesus. Let's just keep it 100. Wrongful conviction.
Keep it 100.
Yes. Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
According to Christianity. So, I've been posting about it all week. So as we go into our little rituals and stuff for Easter, let's think about the innocent. Let's think about those who have been wrongfully convicted. And many people have been executed that was innocent. And so, and although, not many churches preach it from that perspective, I'm just saying, I just want to add to that conversation that this should be really wrongful conviction week. This week.
That's right.
So,
yeah. And the question is, why don't people see it as a wrongful conviction?
Right.
And I think it's largely because when it comes to the dogmas of religion or doctrine and faith, if it's just an outward action or activity, if the spirit that a person proclaims to serve is so outside of themselves, far away from themselves, so far away, then it's not really internalized unless you have internalized that spirit. It's so far away.
Right.
So it's easy to talk about it. And I think this is a practice in humanity. And I think it makes people more or easier to deal with garbage and to take whatever happens to them because everything is so far away.
Right.
It's just at a distance. Whether it's
Right.
heaven is mine, but yes, in time, and it's so far away. It's not now. Everything is far away. It's not really at me. It's not to me. So what concern of it is really, what concern is it for me? Unless the wrongfully convicted happens and it hits close to home, then a person begins to wake up to the reality of some of the nuances in our own government, some of these ridiculous narratives and systems. And then you can see the systemic racism and that it's everywhere and that it really hones in on demolishing and causing people who are already underserved to just utterly fail, fail at life. And today, we need to start looking at that.
Right.
If I'm following whatever you're following, what kind of faith are you following if you can't put it into action?
Right.
Faith without
Exactly.
works, I read, was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if you haven't taken action, if you aren't able to even withstand listening to someone who has a wrongfully convicted story, if you have never ever participated, listened to, or you need to ask yourself why.
Right. And then look at how the story has been told to us over and over again. It's been watered down with the Easter bunny and the eggs and stuff. And so it it doesn't
It
really
made it look good.
right. And so and the new clothes and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so we don't look at it as it was a wrongful conviction. We look at it, hey, he risen, but
He rose.
what did he rise from?
Exactly.
So
And then the only picture we have, the only way people can seem to generally have compassion when they finally did do a compassionate Christ movie, and then they couldn't even, it's hard to tell the truth when you have to look the people in the face that you crucify continually through your own system
mm-hmm.
and say, oh my goodness, this person was also in Africa.
Right. Hey, Beulah. Right. And then when we talk about the compassionate Christ here, I'm about to go to a video. Do we treat people with compassion?
Right.
Oh.
Take her dialysis.
Y'all are gonna be complacent. What side of history are you on?
What picture are these?
Fucking Uncle Don.
Come on. That's the crowbar. There's gonna be so hard. Wait. Stop it. Not approach. Y'all going, you guys gonna end up going. Stop. Malcolm, listen to me. Get off her. Get off me. Get off her. Back up. Get back up. Back up. Stand back up. Back up. Stand back up. Get off of me. Stand back up. Back up. Hey, man. Your ass is going to jail right now. Stand back up. Look. Everyone. Ain't nothing but scared. Ain't nothing but scared.
Lock up! Lock up! Lock up! Lock up! Lock up! Lock up!
Everybody. Back up. Back up. Hey, careful. Take it.
Stay inside!
Take it. Back up.
House niggas, watch your house!
Back up. Back up. Back up.
So that's the Mao video. But that's the video of a faith-based organization ejecting someone from their home. This is supposed to be a Christian organization that was evicting a woman who became a whistleblower against the organization. And so there's, a lot to the story, but I'm just saying, is this what representing faith-based when we're talking about Good Friday and these beliefs that we hold on to, and then we act the opposite? How do we have compassion when that's what we supposed to represent?
Yeah. And telling her story, Jay, what was the lady's name again?
I can't think of her name right now.
Well, she was
eviction of Miss Brown.
Miss Brown, the eviction of Miss Brown. And Miss Brown is a pillar in that community and has actually helped that organization. And because she's a whistleblower now, they want her out and they evicted her. And she has ailments.
Mm-hmm. She has kidney failure.
Yeah.
And Beulah said it's supposed to be a holy week.
That's true. That's true.
Attorney Mack,
yeah, Miss Brown. And is she on dialysis, or she has a lot of ailments? And if I want people to recognize, because of money, because somebody has to get paid, they're willing to go within their own community and evict an elderly woman who is medically fragile. And if we don't start caring about our own people, all of our people, our children and our elders and our own community, but money, because that person, he can just say, well, this is my job. I'm just doing my job. I'm the bailiff.
Mm-hmm.
It's my job. Really? So are we in a place and time where our jobs take over moral, ethical decision making?
Yes. Yeah.
And they made all those tiny homes for
the homeless.
For the homeless.
Right. And supposedly they pay for it for 7 years, and then after the 7 years they become the owner. Mm-hmm. And so she was advocate, and she was standing up for people who were losing that opportunity to own a home, and she lost hers the other day. And you're right, that's all they were yelling is, I'm doing my job. Mm-hmm. But and that, like I said, that video right there that I showed was the Mao. This was in the beginning of it. Was horrible what they did.
It ended up horrific. Yeah. Yeah, it ended up being very horrific. And I wonder, has anybody reached out to Miss Brown to help her?
Good question. We'll have to check that out, and we'll let people know.
Yeah, because that situation was and this is not, it's not, this situation um occurs when it comes to evictions. People have to know that the court system is not designed to help people, just your regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, I'm just going to put in this little blurb. When you go to court, even if you paid your rent and you told them, you paid your rent and maybe it was late, but you paid it and you paid the late fees and you have a court date, still go to the court date. Even though they say, well, if you pay it, they'll send you a dismissal letter. But sometimes, I'm just going to tell you what I know, they will tack on. It depends on how late you are now. Because
Mm-hmm.
they'll tack on the next month's rent. And when you go into that, a lot of times they won't even expect you to be there. And that person representing the company will say that you owe double the amount that you actually owe. And
Mm-hmm.
that's because they've tacked on the next month already.
Mm-hmm.
And if your voice is not there to say, wait a minute, no, I paid this or I paid that. But once you make that statement, then that representative will say, oh, I don't see that in my records. Maybe I missed it. And the judge, they'll say, oh, that's okay. Yeah, they sometimes don't get an up-to-date record. No, but you tacked on that amount anyway. I saw that personally for myself, and I've seen a couple people recently just get evicted, and they paid that amount. And then they realized they didn't owe as much as they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
We have to really, whenever you have a court date, be there. And please have representation. Attorney Hugo Mack.
It's important because, when we talk about, this is, again, like, I think that's what Pam Beulah said, this is supposed to be Holy Week. And,
Mm-hmm.
this more than any time of, supposed to be, I guess, a reflection
Mm-hmm.
of things that's right and just, and we still commit so many injustices, even amongst
Yeah.
ourselves. So, okay, Attorney Matt, you had your hand up earlier. Where you want to go next?
Look, I don't know where to start. Look here, look, Jay Love. You done put me like a fat kid in a candy store. I see everything I want to talk about. I want to talk about Trump. First of all, let me say this.
Oh yeah, come on.
Okay. First of all, Trump got that red and white hat. The
Mm-hmm.
MAGA people, right? Okay. I sent you a message, Jay Love.
I saw it.
Trump wearing a new MAGA hat now. Okay. My ass got arrested. That's the MAGA hat. That's the MAGA hat. And look here. I'm sorry, Jay Love. I'm sorry. I may not get a chance to keep it real like this again. Y'all may start filtering me after this, but do what you got to do. Look, I'm saying this. I do not rejoice in people going into the court system. I tell myself that. I want to believe that. I try to stand on that. But I'm here to confess to you, like the Shy Lights did in Epic Ballad. Have you seen her? Today, again, I've lied. So look, I'm telling you this. Today, again, I've lied. Because I have joy in my heart. Joy, what I saw on my TV, you understand, from Manhattan. Joy in my heart. Hey, y'all, where all them protesters at? Where them protesters at? All the people said, it's an injustice. We're going to have her in the streets doing it. Look here. Them people are so damn quiet, you could have heard a mosquito urinating on cotton. Let me tell you one thing right now. Let me tell you what. I'm sorry, Jay Love. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
So all I'm saying is, them protesters, they wasn't fitting to bust a grape in a wine factory. Let me tell you one thing right now, because they knew for once it wasn't like that January 6th thing. Oh, no, no, no. Look, that black mayor in New York said, I got something for your ass. And especially that Marjorie Taylor Greene, that woman shooting her mouth off all the time, said, come on here, I got something for your ass too. We got a cell reserved for you. See what I'm saying? And she was there about 2 minutes, escort her ass on off the premises. Well, why didn't you stay? Why didn't you stay? Why did you charge up there and tell the police to get out the way? And then they had one fat white woman. I'm not saying about nobody's weight. I'm trying to fat shame nobody. She going with a Trump sign. She going to run across the street and jump on the anti-Trump sign. They should have wrapped her ass up in there like a big taco and rolled her ass in the Hudson River. That's what they should have done. That's what they should have done. See, don't let me be out there. And another thing, Jay Love, what about all this talk about I'm doing the perp walk? Look, help me, Lord, help me. You didn't do a damn thing. You wasn't looking so tough then. They showed your ass sitting in that courtroom waiting for the judge. You wasn't running your mouth then. You wasn't wearing your hat then. You wasn't calling the man a punk to his face. You wasn't calling the attorney, what's his name, Alvin, is it Bragg? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bragg.
Yeah, Bragg. Yeah. You wasn't calling the man a monkey, animal to his face. That's the time to do it. But see, that's one thing. Another thing, how come Melania wasn't there?
She wasn't going.
I'm just
asking. Going to no arrangement.
Yeah. How come Melania wasn't there, Jay Love? See, because they tried to jump on Hillary Clinton. Stand by your man. The Melania had her ass back in Florida. See what I'm saying? Look. I done heard word, and don't ask me to say where I heard it from. That big old Mar-a-Lago, her bedroom on the other end of the compound. But anyway, all I'm saying is, Jay Love, and by the way, Fox News, the sycophants, riding Donald Trump's jock, they had a podium set up outside the courthouse because he's supposed to come give a statement. All he did was look and kept his ass on walking. They tried to get him to come give a statement. He ain't had nothing to say. Shame, Jay Love. And by the way, he talking about he want a mug shot. Why didn't you insist on a mug shot, Trump? Talking about a mug shot. Why? See why? And furthermore, let me tell you one thing, Jay Love. I've been in this business for 40 years. In and out the penitentiary. They might have took my license from me for a minute, but they didn't take my mind. They didn't take my heart. They didn't take my spirit. Okay. And if I had a client that had 34 felonies, they behind would be in the Washtenaw County Jail right now. Now. But yet they let this man, 34 felonies, they let this man walk out the courtroom on personal recognizance, get on a jet and leave the jurisdiction. My people would have a tether and stuck on house arrest. So don't tell me this nonsense about, well, it's a political persecution. It ain't no damn political. The thing that's helping you is your celebrity. That's what's helping you, Jay Love. I mean, him. That's what's helping him. And you notice when he got down to Florida, all that big talk, all their mantras and this and that. Punk, you didn't say nothing to the man's face. You didn't say nothing to the man's face. So, but anyway, Jay Love, I didn't mean to filibuster. I had to get that out. So I'm going to try for the next half hour. I ain't going to say nothing. Thank you for not cutting me off.
Tony Mack, you said 34. You can't go home with 4. 34 counts. They be like, okay, you going to be right here.
That's right.
And it looks like Georgia is going to be having some, he's going to be facing some charges in Georgia.
That's right. And Jay Love, if I can say this, y'all, stay tuned. Just like Batman would say, same bat time, same bat network. Stay tuned because more is coming. I'm telling you this right now. All you Trumpsters listening, all you Laura Ingrams and Sean Hannity, when they put your when they put your behind under oath and said, now you went and tell the people the man was being done wrong and the election was stolen. Isn't it true behind closed doors you saying the man was a lunatic, he was crazy, all that was just bullshit? Yes, we said it. So what I'm saying is these are prostitutes and whores of the highest level. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just like, somebody, man approaching a woman and say, well, how much? Okay. That's the only thing we negotiate right now is price. Because when they get on national TV and got the nerve to call themselves journalists and TV reporters, and you say that the election was stolen, there's massive fraud, Dominion. Oh, by the way, Jay Love, if Laura Ingraham and them talk about Dominion did all this wrong, how come they didn't let themselves get involved in that multi-million-dollar lawsuit?
Mm-hmm.
See, Dominion fitting to rip Fox Network and Rupert Murdoch a new aperture. Okay, I'm put it that way, a wide one, a very, very wide one. Okay, basketball size one, because they lied on them people. They said them voting machines was all rigged and it was a fraud. Hugo Chavez, what you doing? You gonna seance Hugo Chavez? That man is dead. So anyway, what I'm saying is nobody wants to step up and be in the firing line. They standing by in them studios, New York, wherever Fox is, talking that nonsense, but ain't none of them getting up there in the line of fire. Jay Love, I didn't see Rudy Giuliani's biscuit behind up there nowhere. You know what I'm saying? See, where's his ass at, Jay Love? Where he at? And the one doing all that damn line, that woman lawyer. We got all the evidence. Well, where is it?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see it.
Somewhere getting out of the way.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jay Love. I'm sorry.
Attorney Mack, but they hate so much. The hate is so deep that they'll follow a lunatic.
That's right. And them people that's doing it, what I cannot understand is these are poor, I hate to say it, these are largely poor to middle income white folks. They're not getting no benefits and no millions of dollars in tax breaks, Jay Love. They're not doing that. It's the Democrats trying to expand Medicaid to help them people out. So how you follow somebody who does not work for your best interests just because of race, it's got to be race, That's all I can think of. Like I said, last thing I'm gonna say, you MAGA Trump, my ass got arrested, damn straight.
Just like the hate intent. Now we're gonna head on to Tennessee. Hate.
Ooh.
The hate is real. Hold on, Attorney Mack.
We broke a house rule because we're fighting for kids who are dying from gun violence and people in our communities who want to see an end to the proliferation of weaponry in our communities, and that leads to our expulsion. This is not democracy. This is not what it is supposed to look like, and everybody needs to be very afraid and very worried that there are people in positions of power who are using and wielding that power to expel people who are duly elected to their seats. I've lost a classmate this year from gun violence. My mentor died last year from gun violence. We are dealing with a gun violence epidemic, and the resolution is not to silence the voices of people who send us here to the people's house to speak with them and for them. It is to make sure we do just legislation. It's to make sure we fight for red flag laws. We fight for good storage laws. We fight to make sure that this is a democracy and maintains its democratic principles. But that's what's being lost today.
Let's talk about expulsion. For years, one of your colleagues who was an admitted child molester sat in this chamber. No expulsion. One member sits in this chamber who was found guilty of domestic violence. No expulsion. We had a former speaker sit in this chamber who is now under federal investigation. No expulsion. We have a member still under federal investigation. No expulsion. We had a member pee in another member's chair in this chamber. No expulsion. A state in which the Ku Klux Klan was founded is now attempting another power grab by silencing the two youngest black representatives and one of the only women, Democratic women in this body. That's what this is about.
There's no accounting for vitriol, Chris. There's no accounting for hate. The reason why these people, these Republicans, cannot take winning for an answer is because they hate us. And like I know that level is for certain white viewers kind of like hard to get your minds around. But like what the racism comes from is hatred of black folks. And that is why, despite winning, despite being on top, despite controlling so many of the levers of power, you consistently have Republicans shooting themselves in the foot to try, they're willing to shoot themselves in the foot if that shot can go through and hit a black person, because that is the level of hate they feel for our people. And we all know it. We all understand it. Black people understand what we're up against all the time. This is just one of those rare situations where white people are getting to see it out in the open, just how desperately they hate us, just how much they do not believe that we should be allowed to be equal citizens in this country. Like, this is what we fight about, and they're just showing it, right? This is what Trump taps into. This is the white male grievance that Trump has successfully tapped into to make himself the leader of the Republican Party. It's hatred. And I know, again, the New York Times, this is just racially charged. No, they hate us. And this is what hate looks like.
I want to play.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Attorney Matt.
Well, let me say this, just by way of background, and I know you guys already know this, but just in case some people don't know this, the state constitutions are something every state in the union has, okay? And the state constitution can give you more rights than the federal constitution, but it cannot take rights away from the federal constitution, okay? So what's happened in Tennessee, home of the original Klan, I might add. And that's another thing. For all you nostalgic people, all you Tom Hanks lovers, Forrest Gump, sometime life a box of cherries, and you don't know what it is, okay? The man was a star athlete, a scout, and everything like that. Forrest Gump was named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, all right? A Confederate general, paramount in the creation of the Ku Klux Klan and murdering black soldiers, okay? So all y'all Forrest Gump lovers, okay, and you'd like to watch that movie, how great it is, just remember who that man was named after, okay? Mm-hmm. Just remember who that man was. I'm just saying, Jay Love, I'm just saying. So what I'm saying is they have a super majority in Tennessee now, a super majority. And I just want people to understand, a super majority means they have enough votes to override any gubernatorial veto, okay? Mm-hmm. So anytime the Republicans have a supermajority like they do in the House, they do what they want to do. They don't care about the governor, even though the governor is riding with them, by the way. The governor riding with them. But even if he wasn't riding with them, they don't care. They don't care. So they have a supermajority, which was about 67 votes to expel. Because in this situation, you notice the white lady, and I'm glad they didn't kick her out too. They had 65 votes to kick her out. 65 votes, okay? That wasn't enough. But they had 67 votes to kick, or 69 or 67 votes, 69 maybe, to kick out one of those black representatives. So that shows you there was like a 3 or 4 vote difference there. So it was a very close vote. So a supermajority with the House in Tennessee must be 67 votes, something like that. So they had enough to kick them out. And I've looked at Tennessee law. I don't see any way for them to get back in other than to run again and win. Okay. So
yeah, they said they can run again, and I'm pretty sure if they run again, they're gonna win by a landslide, because those people last night was laid out in the street. It's just a travesty that what happened, and guess what? It's an example of what can happen anywhere. Not just Tennessee, all over we talked about stuff last week. Mississippi. I mean, then you have Tennessee, they're fighting. These kids are fighting because they're the target. These crazy people, I don't know what's in their mind to think, hey, I'm gonna go shoot up a school and then kill myself or whatever. I don't even know how that goes together. But this is what they do. And these kids are terrified, right? And their parents want the guns. And so this is what it is.
That's right. That's right.
And how do we, my thing is, how do you protect in that kind of climate? And I think we need to understand that, like Attorney Mack was saying, the state has jurisdiction. So you do have positives and negatives with that, And of course, that state having jurisdiction was supposed to allow the states to have a little more power and to feel the uniqueness of their own governance. Okay, that uniqueness was only provided for southern states, for states who had seceded or did not want to be a part of the United States or the Union at the time. And so this is how all of this began. And there's still a separate, to me, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that you're still having a separate nation after all these years. We're still separate. And the separateness is based upon racism. I don't care how you cut it. You can say, oh, well, it's financial. And yeah, racism was financial. You had financial gain off of slavery. And I would love to, I can't wait for the book to come out, For the Love of Slavery. I don't know who's going to write it, but I'm sure that people are understanding the love that America has with the function of slavery and how it continues through to this day, even with the wrongfully convicted. And so we got to wake up. We got to wake up.
I agree, Reverend.
I don't know what it's going to take.
I posted today, if you just waking up, welcome. because it's it's crazy even what to call it. It's more like it's insane.
Yeah, this is insane. And people are insane right now. And if you've been following a certain way and a certain narrative, you have joined the insanity. And it's just based upon what you believe. Do you realize our whole life is based upon what we believe? And just case in point, time is relative. Time. Let's look at it. If we are following, it depends on what calendar we're following. You have original calendars. If we went by the Nigerian calendar, which is probably the most authentic calendar to coincide with all the seasons and everything, we would still be in 2015. But we're in 2023. By whose standard? Because who said what? Come on, think. Somebody else said we're going to make a new calendar, and this is the calendar that we're going to follow. And the people said, okay. And we all are. Your whole spirit is off. Your whole everything is off because you're not following. So it can be whatever year they say it's going to be.
Right.
And your freedom is what you say it's going to be. But take it back. Take back your family, take back your children, and stop following these ridiculous narratives out here and stop pretending that people aren't hurting. Have some compassion.
Exactly. I mean, look what what's his name? I can't think of his name, but the guy who was talking about how they hate us, when they see they're getting afraid of people speaking their power, their truth to power. And so we just going to expel them, even though, what they're doing is taking away people's vote. They were voted in nobody appointed them these jobs. They're voted into these jobs. and they're taking away their vote by taking away their representation.
They did.
And
They just shut up. They shut up the vote.
right.
They
So
said the
not
vote
only
didn't
did they
matter.
shut them down, they shut down the people who they represent.
Yes.
And
That does not seem like it should be right. Thank you, Pamela Beulah. Yeah, they it should not even there should be no question to that being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I need people to understand they don't care if they're wrong. They've been wrong for 400 years. They don't care.
Mm-mm.
I think we need to stop waiting for people to care about how wrong it is. We need to set up new strategies.
Right.
yeah,
It's not. We're waiting for somebody to save us when we can save our own selves.
you know,
Yes.
you know, and
Go
and
ahead, Matt.
J Love, let me and Reverend Tia, let me say this. One of the good things, one of the great things I saw, and I saw this in flashes during the summer of 2020 around the George Floyd murder, around Breonna Taylor, is that I was heartened to see young white people getting involved, saying Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday at that state capitol there, that legislative capitol building in Nashville, Tennessee, they
Mm-hmm.
had what they call a die-in. A die-in.
Mm-hmm.
They had people laying on the
Ground.
floor right there in that capitol. Look,
Mhm.
I looked, and the only people I saw were white, you know, and
Yeah.
and what I'm saying is that they were there. Oh, by the way, the Tennessee State Police, they was out there ready to crack head. You hear me? They was ready to crack head. But I'm so glad it did not escalate to that point, because you know the first thing they'd have said, well, now how are these people just demonstrating peacefully and you persecuting the peoples from January 6th? See, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that argument. You know what I'm saying? But thank God it didn't get, you know, violent and cracking heads. And furthermore, them people had a right to be in that building. When
Mm-hmm.
they stormed the Capitol, them doors was closed. Okay, them doors was closed. There one a person busted out them doors in Nashville, Tennessee to get inside. They busted
Right.
them doors in the Capitol. They're up there, you know, peeing all on the people property and statues, doing all that. Wasn't none of that happening. So I've been prepared all day, J Love, all day to confront some of my conservative colleagues here about this. They've been quiet as church mice. Quiet as church mice. I feel insulted. You know, J Love, I feel like I'm dressed up for the prom and I ain't got nowhere to go. So,
Mm-hmm.
so people see it, J Love and Reverend Tia. The thing of it is that are they going to do anything about it? See, that's the question. That's the question.
Yeah. And now is the
Yeah.
time.
Now's the time. And you know what? In the midst of it, I like what Danny said. There is something happening that's great in the midst of it, and I think that people are pulling together. That racism is showing its head because it's on its way out.
Mm-hmm.
It has to show its head. You know, it's like we call it extinction of a behavior. So if you're working with a child and they have um, maybe a certain diagnosis and they've got a way of behaving, and they're used to behaving that way. Well, in order to allow them to grow from that behavior and stop doing that behavior and get them to do a more acceptable behavior, they're going to go out screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Before that behavior becomes totally extinct, they'll have a couple of bursts, meaning that that child will just go all the way out doing the worst behaviors that they've done because they know now that the attention given to them, they won't receive the same attention. It's the same thing when it comes to racism and people who have hate in their hearts. They're so used to getting positive feedback from their peers and their colleagues and everything. And now they have people like them who are saying, no, this is wrong. So now they are raising their head in such a way, and they're going to do the wildest acts because they are so pissed off that their behavior is no longer acceptable. Racism is on its way out, and I'm going to keep speaking it until I see it no more.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah, because it's what they're doing is affecting everybody. You know, it's not just affecting Black people. Those kids at that school where that girl went in and shot up, they wasn't Black.
Right.
And
Right.
so these gun laws or are affecting, or not, no gun laws, no, are affecting everybody. And
Right.
so we have to, and they're standing up, rightfully so, because they're the targets.
Right.
And
Right.
so as kids go to school to learn, they shouldn't be fearing for their life or trying to learn tactics or how to get out of the building or what they should do, to get, move around from gun violence. That should be the last thing a kid should have to be thinking about.
Right. And
Yeah.
and J Love, can I interject this though?
Go ahead.
It comes back to the point that I've said, and matter of fact, we've all said one way or another. I saw a stat last night that said only about 23% of young Black people, like maybe between like what 18 and 25, that kind of demographic there, or like 23% of them even bother to vote. Even bother to vote. And I'm saying they got a whole bunch of Black people in Tennessee, particularly Western Tennessee. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is, J Love, there's no doubt in my mind that if they would actually apply themselves and vote, the first thing you do, get rid of that mofo governor. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Get rid of that mofo governor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then in terms of the super majority, I know there's gerrymandering and all that going on, but I'm saying you got to keep working to try to get Democrats into that state house so they can start redrawing them maps. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they doing is gerrymandering, splitting up Black power, diluting it, and making it so watered down. It's really like no representation at all, really, to be honest about it. So I guess my thing is that when I look and I get kind of pissed off because even today, arguing with somebody, a Black person, man, ain't no need in voting, man. You're right to tell Black people, for us to keep saying we don't need to vote, our vote don't count, no way. Why are the other people voting then? If that's what it is, why 75 million people voting for Donald Trump and votes don't count? They don't listen to that bullshit rhetoric. We're the only one listening to it. We listening to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess for me, J Love, I love Black people, what Black people stand for and humanity. But J Love, we got to do something amongst ourselves that we got to stop being so damn comfortable. We really do. We really do.
And guess what, Tony Mack? They like that we believe those narratives.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because that means they can keep running the narrative, and then we get so programmed to it because we hear it all the time. Then we start repeating it and acting the same way.
That's right.
So
that's
we
right.
have to. You're right. We have to change how we think, and we have to use their strategies for ourselves.
That's right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead, Reverend.
It's a narrative, it's fear, and it's a fad. It's either narrative, fear, or fad. And it comes in waves, And the more fear you have, then the more frozen you are and stuck in a mindset or situation because you feel hopeless.
That's right.
So we got to rise up from the fear.
That's right.
You got to stay away from the fads because that's not helping us either.
That's right.
And the narratives, if you don't start, I don't know what it's going to take, but reading is fundamental.
Absolutely.
We need to read all the way through. We need to investigate. We need to look. My grandparents did not have a education like their own children, that they did for their own children. But because they weren't allowed to go so far in school, but they still knew how to
Right.
read. They still knew how to write. They still knew how to investigate and to properly understand what is actually happening.
And they
And so
stood
we need
up.
to do that today. We can't even blame it on, it's sad because the illiteracy rate is high. Functional illiteracy is still high,
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
Detroit was like 50% of adults can't read. You can't read. It's hard to comprehend. So,
Yeah. You can't function in society.
right. And that's
And
real.
then those children, yeah, and then the children find it hard. And I can't even blame it on the fact that maybe the adults don't have the education, but they don't value it.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though my grandparents may not have all had the education, they valued the education and made sure that their children learned and
Mm-hmm.
then were inquisitive. We got to become more inquisitive and critically think things through
Yeah.
and stop just taking whatever's handed to us.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
You got to stop, like, put the emotions in check.
That's right.
Yeah.
Put your emotions in check and really research and really be about the business of understanding, because
Exactly.
they're reacting off of your non-action. This month there's going to be in Lansing a press conference about the second look. Attorney Mack, do you know about the second look legislation?
You know what, Jay Love, I've just heard about it through you and maybe hearing about it somewhat, but to be candid, I haven't analyzed that, so I don't really feel even comfortable speaking on it that much, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, even when we're talking about second look, so second look is having fresh eyes on some of these cases, and especially a lot of people who have been over sentenced, and having a new perspective presented, and maybe giving people second chances, about their conduct and things. But we're talking about second look. We need to also focus on second chances as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this conversation's coming with a video.
Okay. Good.
Here we go, you guys. Is this the one? Yes.
What does being in that system mean?
So in America, there are about 100 million people with a record. Like, let that sink in. 100 million people in America right now had some sort of arrest or conviction on their record. That's more than the entire population of Canada. They face what is called collateral consequences. These are social, civil, and economic sanctions that kick in after you serve your time. 70% are lifetime bans, and more than half are employment related. We're talking about banning people from entire sectors: insurance, real estate, education, healthcare, finance.
If you have a felony conviction, you are banned from healthcare and from real estate.
For life. For life. That's just the economic impacts, right? The social impacts are even worse. I have a record. 20 years ago, fresh out of high school, was involved with a robbery, right? Did 7 years, got out. It's been 11 years since I've been out.
Right.
My kids are 2 and 4. I'm getting choked up because it hits home. Mm-hmm. My kids are 2 and 4. And we got a schedule for summer school. And there were field trips on there. And they said, what parents want to chaperone the field trips? I can't chaperone his field trips. My wife is 46 years old, I'm 38. We want to have a girl, but it's a high-risk pregnancy. So I said, hey, let's figure out adoption. We can never adopt a kid. I love the fact that we live in a country where we talk about second chances and redemption and one nation under a God, but like, my soul can be redeemed, but that record stays there for life.
Yeah. And it doesn't even benefit the country or the community. And this is in Michigan. This is everywhere, but it's definitely in Michigan.
That's right. That's right.
And rehabilitation, they're supposed to be going into prison or into jail or whatever, and they're supposed to come out different. There's no rehabilitation. The the medical and the mental health services are bleak. And so what is the expectation? And you know, it is phenomenal how these people still come out and do exploits in the earth, regardless of what has happened. But the stacks are laid against them. And everybody is not even motivated enough to move on.
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead, Attorney Mack.
Jay Love, I understand exactly what that man is talking about. Let me tell you this. You know what my day job is. You know what it is. Okay. But in my day job, okay, I can pick a jury, but I can't sit on one. In the state of Michigan, a person with a criminal justice experience like myself that's come out the penitentiary, the state of Michigan says I'm not worthy to sit on a jury. Now think about that. Think about that. Think about that. And let me just talk about myself for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Some people might say highly educated. I think that's a question mark. Jury's still out on that, okay? But what I'm saying is that regardless of those accolades, regardless of all that stuff, it doesn't matter. You know, the good things I've been able to try to do through Jesus Christ for myself and other people, none of that matters, okay? You can have a person that's the drag of society, you know, that is doing wrong, beating their wife, committing crime, immoral, you know, pedophile at heart, only they haven't been quote unquote caught, okay? Okay. But their heart is black as ace of spades. That person who has never had to prove themselves in a damn thing can sit there behind right up on a jury and be selected to make decisions of life and death on somebody. And a person like me, who's been through the system, which says it's supposed to have been rehabilitating me and what have you, all right, paid my debt to society, you're telling me I'm not worthy as that man or that woman. You understand what I'm saying? Telling you? I am patently beneath them no matter what I do. I could win 5 Nobel Peace Prizes in a row, and the state of Michigan tell me, nigga, we don't care. You got a record, you ain't sitting on no jury in the state of Michigan. So all you Democrats, I'm talking to you, Gretchen Whitmer, all y'all talking about we're going to end right to work and all that. That's good. That's good. Put something in there for people that have been in the system and coming out. Put something in there to restore our dignity where we can go and sit on a damn jury, okay? Where we can go and get qualified for housing without being discriminated against, where we can get a damn job. When I came out the penitentiary, Jay Love, I could not get a job stacking tomato cans at Myers because of my record. You understand? Couldn't do it. So, and still can't do it. So, you know, that's why I say praise be to glory to God and Jesus Christ, my personal Lord, Master, and Savior, who made a way for me out of no way. But just think about somebody who came out the penitentiary who didn't have the advantages I had in education and resource to fall back on. You are literally forcing that person back into crime. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because you're making it impossible for them to reintegrate. And then when crime comes about, well, we told you he wasn't no good. See that there? He back in trouble again. And black people, stop being so damn judgmental about somebody else. Stop listening to what you hear on the news or something on the newspaper about whatever that is. You don't know what that person's story is. You don't know what kind of trauma that person experienced. You don't know what kind of mental challenges and people are doing. And I'm warning you, black people, this is not just about race, Jay Love. I said it before. I say it again. This is about class. This is about class. Because I do believe, even if race was not the operative condition it is right now, black people are still caught up in class. And, you know, I think it'll be just as bad, only we would have the rich blacks and the well-to-do blacks siding with the whites against them poor whites and the blacks. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Now, prove me wrong, y'all. You know, let history prove me wrong and say Attorney Mack was wrong. We've eliminated racism. We've confronted white supremacy. We're dealing with inequality, and we're addressing it. And Attorney Mack is wrong. I'll be the first to say I'm sorry for being wrong, but I'm so damn glad you proved me wrong.
Yes. I'm going to go to this next video.
Having been in the system and survived and thrived in spite of it, what can change within the system that can actually bring about more positive outcomes?
What could help incarcerated folks is to actually allow them to be treated and considered as human beings to start with.
So 3 quick points. First, we have to elect people with intestinal fortitude to do the right things, right? Like we have to elect good folks. You need elected officials to say, I'm gonna do the tough work. And then we need to be there when they are undoubtedly gonna face backlash. We have to be there and try to recall you. It failed miserably, right? Because the people on the ground said, hey, you know what? We're gonna back these politicians up. Point 1. Point 2, the work that we do is about safety. Mm-hmm. It's not just the absence of crime, it's the presence of well-being.
Right.
When you think about safety, just think about it for a minute. Where you felt most safe? What did it smell like? What did it taste like? Aesthetically, what did it look like? Right? No one answering those questions ever said police sirens, jail, prison, probation, parole. No, you're like backyard barbecues with my nana. You know what I mean? But we don't have a system that's rooted in shared safety. We have a crime response system. So if we truly want to stop the guy from defecating on the side of the street, don't put handcuffs, put your arm around him and say, what do you need? A continuum of care. Last point. Wow. Last point. There are 100 million people in this country that have a criminal record. There's 100 million of us. Here, we served our time, we paid our debt to society, and we're facing 40,000 legal restrictions. When will my sentence end? If my time is done, my sentence should be complete. Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, heck, give me 10 years. At least shield the record so I can go on with my life. We have to stop people from not being able to take care of themselves and their family. And that's repairing the harm. That's passing sunset laws in every single state.
Yes. Yes. You muted, Rabbitier.
Yeah, because poverty is criminalized, and people are not able to move on, and that's what it comes down to. We got to move from survival mode. It is not okay for people to live their life in survival mode. And right now, whether we're looking at economy or whatever, people rising up from that mindset takes focus, it takes time, it takes training your mind to think something different. And for people who have served time and people who are wrongfully convicted, but people who some people are still serving time that their time has finished and they're still incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really need to dive in deep and say, okay, this system is not working because the leaders of the system are not working. And when I don't work or do my job as it is supposed to be done, I'm going to get fired. We need to do some mass firing.
Right. The
system,
system,
and we do that by voting.
Yeah. The system is antiquated and it needs to be disrupted and dismantled and rebuilt again. We can't keep on trying to pick at it and do this. It just needs, and it takes all of us to do that. And that's why voting matters. And that's why when we get people in like the Tennessee 3 and stuff like that, who are unapologetically standing up, we have to support them. When we get people like that, we have to support them. We have to have their backs. and they, we have to, organize and move in a non-violent but um, um, enforcing how we stand way. So it's us. It's going to take us to do it, because the people who they're just running off these old programming, old systems, and they're just repeating it all over, over and over again. And it's just up to us.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So this was Attorney Matt. This was a good conversation. Did you get everything out that you needed to say?
Y'all are my sisters, my colleagues, but you're also my therapists. And so thank you, Jay Love. Yeah, I feel much better now. I can sleep good. I feel good. Because look here, I'm so glad when you said it was going to be a free for all. I was jumping in my chair when I got your message. Yeah. Ooh, Lord, because I've been waiting to unload, Jay Love. I've been waiting to unload.
It's so much.
It is
so much. And then, also Tennessee, this week was the anniversary of the death of Dr. King.
That's right.
And so, are we repeating history? We're trying to silence people's voices.
That's right.
So we can't let our voice be silent.
No.
I had a little, here it is. You can also commit injustice by doing nothing, by saying nothing, by just acting like it's not existence. Wow. We all have something that we can do. We just have to figure out what it is and do it.
Right.
Yeah, and check ourselves individually too. What are you thinking?
That's right.
What are you thinking when you just pass people on the street and sum up? And sometimes, ask yourself, am I being critical? Am I criticizing my own brother, my own sister? Am I criticizing people who are in poverty?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they like that? Do you think they want to be in the position that they are in?
Right.
And when you pass by somebody, it's what are you saying to yourself? Is your ego that big where you have to down somebody else who's already down?
Mm-hmm.
If it is, and if you have caught yourself thinking a certain way about a person, or just, oh, you didn't pay your insurance? Criminalizing. If they had the money to pay it, they probably would have paid it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why you went to jail, because you didn't pay your insurance. Is that a real reason to go to jail?
Right.
Is not paying the insurance, is that threatening to the community?
Right.
We got to really ask ourselves these questions. So when we talk about the fact that poverty is criminalized, get down to some nitty-gritty questions to ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And who are you treating like that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. And Jay Love, can I just say this one thing? Let us start in prayer. The gentleman, the African name in Virginia, was having a mental health crisis, and they had those police officers and maybe jail people surrounding him. There was, like, at one time 10 people on top of him. He was handcuffed and shackled, I do believe, and he died. He Etanone, his last name, but anyway, he died. And then let's not forget, in Washington, D.C., you may or may not have heard about this, the police saw a car, like a little small little compact car, a white car, and this is Washington, D.C., and they had reason to believe the car was stolen, and apparently it was stolen, okay? So they approached it, and there was about 5 or 6 of them surrounding the car, and they saw somebody in the driver's seat. But apparently the young man was asleep. I don't know if y'all have heard about this or not, but it happened within the last week. Apparently the young man was asleep. And so they had the body cam on, and the police were talking amongst themselves, And, you know, they said, okay, now, I don't know if we should try to go in now because he is behind the wheel and the car is running, okay? So we got to be real careful going in, coordinate this. And so, you know, what happened was one of them said, I'm just going to jump in the car, okay? So two of them tried to jump in the car in the back seat. The guy woke up, panicked, and drove off. One police officer fell out of the car, the back of the car, and the other one was telling the guy, stop, you know, tell him, the young man, black man, stop, stop, stop. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. And then he tried to force him to stop. And the next thing we know, it showed the police officer took out his gun and shot him, killed him.
While he was driving?
While he was driving, killed him. Google it. I cannot remember, but this was Washington, D.C. shooting, you know, young black men. So I said, it's happening again. And then they said, well, they later on found a gun in the car. Well, maybe the gun was there or not. It wouldn't be the first time police have thrown a gun.
That is irrelevant. Yeah, that is irrelevant.
Right. And by the way, you didn't see the gun when you shot the man. You know,
you saw a sleeping man.
It's not like he had a gun and try to point it back at you. The man is driving. How you shoot somebody in the back when they driving? See, I don't understand.
And you got it. You in their car without even asking him. Why didn't they knock on the window? That's what most people do to wake somebody up.
Jay Love and Reverend Tia, the police have got those spike strips they put on the road. It'll flatten anybody's tire. You run on anybody's car, gonna get flattened. You know what I'm saying? And you've got police cars. This car is parked. You can't surround the car with police cars so they can't move. You can't do that, really? In a parked car?
So many other ways. Yes.
So many other ways. And so he's dead, Jay Love and Reverend Tia. He dead. Shot him about 6 or 7 times too. He dead. I said, here we go again. Here we go again.
Yeah.
That is sick. That is sick. This is a sick mind.
Google it, y'all. You'll see for yourself. You'll see.
Yeah. Reverend Tia, do you have something you want to leave us with?
Take your power back. That's what I'm saying today. It is time to take our power and educate our children and our children's children. We need to have a standard. We have to have ethical standards in our home, ethical standards in our communities. And we need to come together as a community and watch out for one another. There is no way. There's certain things that are happening now in our communities. There's no way. And we have to say, not on my watch. Not anymore. Not anymore, and not on my watch.
Yes.
And I just believe that the alarming evidence that is coming forward today is because it's on its way out. And people have to see how horrific it is and the frequency. Because what we're seeing is the frequency. And don't just wait for the national news to show you, or the news stations that always have the same narrative. Key in to locals, key in to there are local channels where people are giving you real news.
Yes.
We need to
research
look
for
that.
yourself. Yep.
Right.
So I also want to invite you guys to join the Wrongful Conviction Task Force. The next meeting is April the 18th. Trische and Survivor Speaks. If you go on Survivor Speak on Facebook, you can make a picture of that QR code, or even on here now, take a picture of that or put your camera up to it, and it'll click you on there, register, and they'll send you the link for that meeting. It's April the 18th at 1. And then also Survivor Speaks on Saturday, April the 15th at 10 a.m. This is the Wrongful Conviction Support Group. It's a really awesome group. And if you're supporting someone that's wrongfully convicted, if you've been through a wrongful conviction, you should join us for the conversation. Also, we're supporting clemency for Susan Brown, our sister, who this is the Final Push Project. This is her QR code. And also you can follow this link and find out about Susan Brown's story and Last, donate to the Voice of Detroit. This is an awesome publication that's over 20 years has been um, bringing out information and following stories of those who are wrongfully convicted. She does
Mhm.
the work. So support her by going to www.voiceofdetroit.net and support um, this publication. And also, save the date. The Love Gathering is coming. There's going to be more information next week, but save the date for the Love Gathering, 6/24/23. A day of love, fun, food, self-care, and the celebration of life. It will be at this time the 1 year period of Gerard's transition. So come out. I mean, we can all gather together for a day of love and release, because this work that we do, especially advocacy, it can be really heavy. So just come out and support us. And my closing remarks for today is this.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, because the world won't get no better if we just let it be. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me.
Good night, everybody.